Today's deep listening topic is 10 hours of meditation for 10 days straight, the experience and insights. I had not meditated once before I went to a Vipassana course. I went frankly to get answers to some questions that had surfaced after I experienced a shift of consciousness, which within seconds changed my whole inner world. The shift unfolded within a conversation where I experienced saying something out loud that I had no prior knowledge of. I don't even remember what I said, but I can clearly remember the feeling of hearing the words after I had said them. Meaning that the source of the knowledge came from a place beyond the mind. It was a sudden, accidental access to a space of awareness that can observe the mind. And experiencing that space in itself meant that the mind wasn't alone in control anymore. And there was no way back from that. It could not be unfelt. It changed completely how I perceived myself, from identifying with the mind into experiencing something beyond it. It helped me instantly to make sense of my own thoughts and behavior patterns, as well as others. It felt like an accidental key that unlocked the whole knowledge of the universe within myself, and everything felt whole. But on the level of the mind, it was difficult to catch up and grasp what happened. And some part of me was questioning if there are more levels of consciousness that there's to unlock. So I woke up one morning, signed up for a Vipassana course without really thinking about it. The course consists of 100 hours of meditation throughout 10 days while you're completely cut off from the external world and solely focused on your inner world. That means no eye contact, no books, no writing. Only meditation, a bit of eating, sleeping, and walking. In the beginning of the course, there is very little guidance. You're just instructed to sit, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. All while trying to keep your mind as still and empty as possible. I remember on the second day, after 10 plus hours of trying to keep my mind, even for a second, free from thoughts, I thought it's just impossible. But as I went there with a non-negotiable determination to fully focus on the practice, I kept on trying. And it's incredible to experience that just as with physical exercising, we're able to train our muscles with constantly holding the attention on the breath. We can train our so-called muscle of awareness. The difference is that progress in the beginning is from 1 second to 2 seconds. It was an extremely slow and frustrating process, as all of my focus throughout my entire life had been on the external world, which had created an uncontrolled tornado of thoughts in my mind. A tornado which took 100% of my energy to try to calm it down. After 4 days of focusing on the breath in a limited area of inside of my nose and above my upper lip, the mind started to calm down. That allowed me to sharpen my awareness enough so I could start getting in contact with the inner energy field. So by constantly focusing on the flow of the breath, I was eventually able to feel the subtle chemical reactions that take place in our body in that same limited area. As it's impossible to understand this sensation without experiencing it, I'd ask you to do this small exercise that we've done before. So to rub your hands together for 5 seconds. And let them rest. I feel a sensation of the blood pulsating inside of my hands. And just to say that this is not taught at Vipassana, it's a tool I've used myself in teaching meditation. But it lets you experience the sensation you would eventually feel within every inch of your body on the course. To the point that if I focused my awareness on the tip of my head, I felt the sensations on the tip of my head. And from there, I started moving my awareness through the body with a scanning motion. By constantly moving attention from top to bottom of my body, the awareness works as a push to this inner energy wave that sweeps through it. A wandering thought is an interruption to that process, so it's important to let it go and not get carried away by it. During those scans, I experienced that some parts of the body were more constricted, and there was a blockage in trying to feel the flow of the energy moving through the body. It represented itself as physical pain or numb spots. The exact guidelines at that point were to remain objective and to observe the changing nature of life within. Firstly, to understand our reactive nature, and secondly, to be able to come out of those reactive patterns. For me, this manifested during the scan of the body, both as flows of energy and physical pain. But here's the most fascinating part. By observing both of those experiences in my body and not reacting to either pain or pleasure, made them dissolve. They reappeared in other parts of the body, but that's completely normal as it represents the constant change in life. The point is that it became easier and easier not to react to physical pain or feelings of bliss as they serve the purpose. Each wave of awareness through the body while the mind was calm took me deeper into accessing the subconscious. In my experience, if this connection between the subconscious and the mind is created, it gives the subconscious the power to cleanse the mind and feed it universal knowledge. Before I left for the course, my first conclusion from reading the description was, okay, it's going to be 10 days of being forced to face myself while my past traumas surface one after the other. That was partly true, but not in a way that I had imagined. I imagined that I would have painful memories surfacing and that I would have to do my best to accept them, to make them lose their power. But it goes way beyond that. The experience showed me that our mind is our biggest obstacle in changing our inner world. The way to do that is through bodily experiences that surface when the mind is still. I'll quote Eckhart Tolle here, problems of the mind cannot be solved on the level of the mind. So to conclude, I went from accidentally accessing my subconscious to acquiring the skill to access it intentionally. Overall, it's a very individual experience, so don't take my words as truth. It will, though, in one way or another, change your life, and I'd recommend everyone doing it. Just take a huge determination and an open mind with you. Thank you for listening.